Joe Scarborough from Morning Joe tells the world Donald Trump will begin executing people if he's allowed to become president. Elon Musk sues Media Matters for using covert advertising to embarrass and sink Twitter, and much, much more. Thank you so much for liking and sharing these videos. You guys, it really helps me out. So thank you so much. I put out a fiery interview from earlier today. You guys are gobbling it up, giving it likes. Thank you so much. I'll link it at the end of this video. I also want to thank today's video sponsor, Ground News, and I'll tell you about them later. Earlier today, President Joe Biden announced that they are very close to bringing some of the hostages held by Hamas home to the United States. Biden stated this was possible because his team on the ground was working nonstop for weeks, assisting in negotiations by shuttling between capitals. Now, it does appear that we have had diplomats and negotiators over in the country of Qatar working round the clock to bring these Americans home. So hopefully our prayers will be answered and these people will be safe and released. Now, just a few short hours later, the deal was officially finished with the Israeli government, which has approved a 4-day pause in fighting so that at least 50 hostages can be released. Unfortunately for Israel, they got the short end of the stick, as Hamas will be getting at least 150 of their own hostages released, as well as given oil and goods to enter the city. So Israel's getting people back, but they're getting back 30% as much as the group in Hamas is getting in exchange. But those 50, they're going to be so grateful to be let go. Now, this pause will likely revive Hamas in some way, and they've been using the Palestinian people as human shields. And so, unfortunately, we must take the good news with the bad news, but there are going to be people that are released. Hopefully, those that are innocent in all of this can find shelter and get away. It's really unfortunate. I've really disliked covering this story, but it is one of the biggest stories in the news. Now, during a meeting with countries in the BRICS alliance, China's President Xi Jinping commented on the situation, stating that he believes both sides should release all civilian hostages immediately to avoid more loss of life and suffering. Now, just like Biden, Xi pressed for a two-state solution, which would see a Palestinian Authority rule Gaza. It really seems like most countries want this war to end because even those aligned with Palestine still realize that Israel has a much stronger force than Hamas. So, China was able to make a lot of inroads with peace with Saudi Arabia and Iran. Maybe it's going to take China, not the United States, to get the peace between Israel and Hamas. I'll continue to keep you updated on that. Now, while the world is focused on Israel and Hamas, Ukrainian President Zelensky has just claimed that he has survived at least 5 assassination attempts on his life from Russia. During an interview, Zelensky claimed that Russia was actively trying to have him removed from office. While the Russia-Ukraine war has stalled, it is unclear what Zelensky's strategy will be, especially since we know that America is struggling to support them financially and with new weapons, especially with this two-front war now supporting Israel. Either way, Zelensky claimed in the interview that they will still not give up, meaning this war will likely continue to roll forward. In an effort to showcase Biden's unwavering support for Ukraine, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin took a trip to meet with Zelensky. After the meeting, Austin stated, "We talked about the things that we're going to continue to do to make sure that they have what they need to be successful on the battlefield." Now, this is like the most vague milquetoast answer I've ever heard, right? What are you going to do? We're going to do everything we can. Now, I really hope Austin is speaking about increasing production of weapons because we're going to need them back home since we basically drained all of our stock supplies in order to help Zelensky and Ukraine. Just a few days ago, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis smeared former President Donald Trump for being too old to be president. Trump today had his physician publish a letter. In the letter, it was claimed that Trump performed excellently in his cognitive exam and is in excellent health. Meanwhile, President Biden just celebrated his 81st birthday, but chose not to release any of his medical information, which has many nervous that he's in worse health than we would have guessed. Now, they made a really big mistake with Biden. They have a picture of him sitting alone with this cake that has so many candles, like the flame is overtaking. They should have put one candle in. If you're trying to convince us that he's not old and feeble and mentally deficient, you should not have put a cake where it looks like the entire cake is on fire from having too many candles. Far-left MSNBC host Joe Scarborough has just caused a big controversy when he claimed that Donald Trump would begin executing enemies if he got back into office. During this rant, Scarborough stated, "He will imprison, he will execute. Whoever is allowed to imprison, execute, drive from the country." Now, the media has devolved in such a way that someone can openly claim a future candidate is going to commit murder or genocide or break from the courts. It's absolutely fear-mongering what Joe Scarborough is doing, and he is villainizing Trump and defaming Trump because last I checked, Trump didn't kill a single one of his American enemies. He didn't lock people up. I mean, he joked about it, but there's a big difference between cracking a joke and actually doing something. Now, this story, as horrible as it is, of Trump executing people, barely got any media coverage. So I had to do a deep dive into it on Ground News, the first place I check whenever there's confusion on the truthfulness of a full story. Now, I noticed that there's more than 10 articles that have been published in the last day, but 90% of them are coming from right-leaning media sources, which means if you have Democrat friends, they don't even know that this story exists. Like, they don't even know that Joe Scarborough was making up complete and total garbage about the former president. So it's the Republican side that's covering this stuff. Now, I'm all for getting my truth no matter what the source is, but in this case, coverage is primarily from low factuality sources telling me that this was subjective and also sensationalized. And we can see it right here in the headlines. Essentially, Joe Scarborough said this as if it was clickbait, as if it was going to be true. But just look at Trump's track record. He took out al-Baghdadi and General Soleimani, who killed American military people. He didn't take out his enemies. All right, now we are living in what's arguably one of the most controversial times in recent history. Information is being released so fast you can hardly verify it. There's more propaganda than truth. I mean, just look at the Israel-Gaza situation. It's hard to differentiate, right? Now, we need the truth. That's why I use Ground News to help me get through the bias, to help cut through the fog of war so that I can accurately report to you what's actually going on in the news. Now, check this out. If you go to ground.news/Stephen, you can subscribe for less than $1 a month. But right now, for a limited time, you can get 40% off their Vantage subscription. Now, I'm a Vantage subscription member. It's really helpful and makes it very easy to compare news stories so that you can actually see who's spinning the truth. I encourage you to check that out and take advantage of that. I'm going to leave a link down below. Now, Elon Musk has just filed what could be one of the biggest lawsuits in American history, a lawsuit targeting left-leaning nonprofit organization Media Matters after they claimed to show that X was advertising neo-Nazi and racist content alongside the names of major brands. Well, all of these brands fled from X And now X is in trouble financially because of these lies. So basically, in response, the X platform denied the accusations and filed a lawsuit that Media Matters knowingly and maliciously manufactured side-by-side images depicting advertisers' posts on X Corp's social media platform next to neo-Nazis and white nationalist fringe content, and then portrayed these manufactured images as if they were the typical X user experience on the platform. So they're trying to embarrass Elon Musk. They're pissed that he bought it and exposed the truth that it was becoming a fascist organization. And then now they're trying to collapse Twitter or X through getting rid of all of their advertising partners by this made up stuff. Oh, look at these Nazis. Look at these white supremacist piece of garbage humans, right? Next to Disney or next to Ford or whatever it is. It's all total garbage. Now, this lawsuit will likely have weight behind it because the Attorney General of Missouri and also the AG of Texas have filed investigations into Media Matters for fraud and deceptive marketing. There will also likely be huge defamation lawsuits. And when you sue the wealthiest man in the world, believe me, he's going to win and get revenge. All right, lastly, the sale of previously owned homes has fallen to a 13-year low as recession fears mount. However, according to economist Lawrence Young, mortgage rates have continued to fall over the last 3 weeks. And in his opinion, he thinks that we're going to see the housing market pick up and get moving again. My opinion is the rates are going to have to drop significantly more, and likely prices are going to have to come down before we see another real estate boom in America. Now, before you go, I want to remind you that you are amazing. I really, really believe that. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Please give this video a like, hit that subscribe button, and check out Ground News. They're amazing. They are trustworthy. And if you support them, it supports my channel. So thank you guys so much. I'm going to put that fiery interview. Do not miss this. I don't care if you only watch 15 minutes of it. It's going to blow your mind. Also, check out this video. Thanks so much, and I will see you on the next video.